This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us on this Monday, February 1st, 2021. I'm Ephraim Graham. The Northeast is being hit with a whopper of a storm, dumping well more than a foot of snow in many areas and creating blizzard-like conditions. Aldale Hurd is on this story.
Cities all along the Northeast are preparing for what could be the biggest snowstorm in years as a powerful nor'easter barrels up the coast. Forecasters are warning of treacherous conditions across much of the region through tomorrow, with some locations facing blizzard-like conditions with up to 2 feet of heavy snow. A state of emergency has been declared in New Jersey. Snow emergencies are also in effect in Philadelphia and Boston. Nearly 1,000 flights in the region have already been canceled. Power outages and potential flooding are expected.
We're not even hoping for the best anymore. We're just preparing for the worst.
More than 250 crashes were reported in Virginia alone, including this fire truck flipped over on a slippery road, but no serious injuries reported in the state. The storm system has already blanketed parts of the Midwest with the most snow the region has seen in several years. The snow in D.C. drew hundreds of people to the National Mall for a massive snowball fight. And at the National Zoo, giant pandas were making the most of it, sliding down hills, belly up. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
And for more on what we can expect from this winter storm is meteorologist Justin Povic. Let's check in with him.
Heavy snow makes its move slowly off to the north and to the east as we go from today into tonight and even into tomorrow. Widespread winter storm warnings out running from Pennsylvania all the way into Maine. Let's talk about that timeline as we go through the day. Heaviest snow will be breaking out along I-84, I-78, as well as I-81, lifting its way from northeastern and eastern Pennsylvania through northwestern New Jersey, southern New York, and into Connecticut. Boston snow coming in for this afternoon, but it's going to take some time until we see the snow make its way into northern portions of New England. Here's the heaviest snow this afternoon, east central Pennsylvania, as well as northwestern New Jersey, spreading its way to the north and to the east slowly tonight into Tuesday as that snow begins to pivot its way towards central Maine. And here's where we're looking at areas over a foot of snow, western Maine down into south central Pennsylvania. This will be 12 to 18 inches, but again, 18 to 24 inches over the Poconos. New York City looking at 12 to 18 inches of snow, as well as Allentown. AccuWeather local storm max to 36 inches of snow. I want to give you a few individual cities here. Boston 6 to 10, but again, higher amounts west, lighter amounts southeast toward Cape Cod. Hartford 12 to 18 inches. Providence 8 to 12 inches. Higher amounts just off to the west. Portland higher amounts to the west as well. And Albany looking at 6 to 10 inches of snow. Tuesday, again, this nor'easter advances. We'll see the heaviest snow again over central and eastern Maine. Behind that, still some gusty winds. And speaking of the wind, high wind warnings out here toward Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, and also some advisories out toward the Jersey Shore. The wind here, again, can be gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour. Along with that, the concern for some coastal flooding. Temperatures over the next couple of days remaining on the cool side, even into Tuesday. And as we go into Wednesday, the snow begins to wrap up, but the wind and the chill will linger.
Justin, thank you. Former President Donald Trump has named 2 attorneys to his impeachment defense team. The move comes just one day after it was revealed he had parted ways with an earlier set of attorneys. The 2 lawyers representing him will be an Alabama attorney, David Schoen, and a former prosecutor in Pennsylvania, Bruce Castor. Several South Carolina lawyers who were set to represent former President Donald Trump at the trial starting next week have left the team. Trump is the first president in American history to be impeached twice. Rather than bring a few 100,000 pro-life activists together in close quarters in Washington, D.C. this year, the March for Life decided to go mostly virtual because of the threat from the coronavirus. So that gave supporters around the world a chance to join together for the day's events online. But as Paul Strand reports, some pro-lifers still decided to march physically at the U.S. Supreme Court to bear witness for the more than 62 million babies killed since the High Court legalized abortion nationwide.
The March for Life this year was supposed to just be virtual, with only a couple of dozen pro-life leaders actually marching. Instead, a couple of hundred showed up for the march all the way up here to the U.S. Supreme Court.
They didn't let a pandemic or freezing cold weather deter them. we're not a fair weather crowd. We're people who are committed to protecting the most weakest and the most vulnerable and to help mothers. And there's no obstacle that we will allow to stand in our way, and weather is the least of it.
But it really shows the resilience of the pro-life generation, that no matter the circumstances, no matter the weather, we will find a way to be outspoken and be passionate and be here to speak up for the preborn.
Many among them are concerned about abortion supporters having taken the White House and all of Congress. But March for Life President Jeannie Mancini says keep up the fight no matter the obstacles.
We've got a lot to be doing, but don't be discouraged. We're winning in the court of public opinion. Young people are primarily pro-life. Abortion numbers, for the most part, keep going down. Now, there are still over 800,000 a year, so it's very daunting. We've got a lot of work to do, but discouragement, no. We've got our tasks ahead of us.
As for the pre-march rally, it was all virtual, but featured some of America's most prominent pro-life leaders, including the likes of Focus on the Family's Jim Daly, who mourned what those aborted might have achieved.
People who would have grown up and discovered cures to deadly diseases, invented and pioneered new technologies, helped lead our nation and improved neighborhoods, loved others, and made the world a richer and happier place.
This is the 48th March for Life. All have marked that dark day in January 1973, when the Supreme Court decided in its Roe v. Wade ruling that abortion is constitutional. Organizers, speakers, and marchers will continue to mark that day until Roe v. Wade is overturned or the thought that one can abort one's own baby becomes unthinkable. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from the Supreme Court.
Iran denied a request by French President Emmanuel Macron to include Saudi Arabia in negotiations for a new nuclear agreement. As Chris Mitchell reports now from Jerusalem, it's one of the latest developments in the effort to keep Iran from getting a nuclear bomb.
President Macron warns that time is growing short to keep Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Iran says it's reaching its goal of producing 20% enriched uranium faster than expected. 20% is one step away from weapons-grade uranium.
We were supposed to produce 120 kilograms of 20% uranium annually, but now, in less than 1 month, we have reached about 17 kilograms, which is even ahead of our timetable.
While the Biden administration says it wants to negotiate a stronger, better nuclear deal, Iran and its ally Turkey refuse that offer. Iran wants to use its leverage to drop the economic sanctions.
I should emphasize this. America was the one who withdrew from the JCPOA and breached its commitments. Now it's America that should return to the JCPOA and fulfill its commitments.
It also set a February 21st deadline for the EU signatories to drop sanctions, or it will cut off access for UN nuclear inspectors and increase uranium enrichment. The Biden administration is considering naming Robert Malley as its envoy to the nuclear negotiations. Critics like Senator Tom Cotton said the choice of Malley would send the wrong signal to Iran. He tweeted, "It's deeply troubling that President Biden would consider appointing Rob Malley to direct Iran policy. Malley has a long track record of sympathy for the Iranian regime and animus towards Israel. The Ayatollahs wouldn't believe their luck if he is selected." In the meantime, Israel is watching closely. And on Sunday, Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz told an Egyptian TV station it's keeping open its military option to stop Iran's nuclear program. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
A grieving widow shares her story. Coming up, see why she is still holding on to hope after her husband was killed by police.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep. as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug of war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline, Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Police reform is one of many items on the Biden administration's agenda, especially following a number of shootings involving police officers in 2020. Tamika Miller is one woman dealing with this on a personal level following the death of her husband in Atlanta. In an interview with CBN News' Eric Phillips, she explains why her faith in God is turning beauty into ashes in her family's tragic story.
This is where Rayshard Brooks was shot back in June. At the time, there was a Wendy's restaurant here. As you can see, it's now an empty lot. The building may be gone, but the wounds are still fresh, especially for his wife.
I never thought that I would be a widow this young. It's been really hard. Up and down, I feel like my life has been a roller coaster, pretty much, but I keep the faith.
Tamika Miller says only faith has been able to sustain her these last several months.
It's hard. It's so hard not to be angry. It's so hard not to feel vengeance.
Now, there are just reminders of what continues to haunt Miller. It happened June 12th after police were called to this Wendy's in southwest Atlanta because 27-year-old Rayshard Brooks had fallen asleep in his car while in the drive-thru line. Video shows that after some calm conversation, officers gave Brooks a breathalyzer, determined he was intoxicated, and tried to cuff him. That's when the situation spun out of control. During a scuffle with officers, Brooks grabbed one of the officers' taser. He ran and looked back, pointing the taser as if he was going to shoot it. That's when Officer Garrett Rolfe fired 3 shots, 2 of them striking Brooks. He died at the hospital following surgery.
When they knocked on my door, they were telling me to identify my husband and that he had been murdered.
When she learned the details that her husband had grabbed an officer's taser, she was baffled.
What was it that made him feel in danger to grab it? In order for him to go to that extent, he felt in danger. This is right after George Floyd, and we watched this together. This is right after Breonna Taylor. And my husband, we watched those things. We kept tabs on stuff like this.
Adding to the tragedy, it happened the same week of their 8-year-old daughter's birthday.
She understood very well that her daddy wasn't going to make it to take her skating, and her daddy wasn't going to come back. There were so many promises that was made, wasn't kept because they took my husband.
Officer Rolfe was fired from the Atlanta PD and charged with murder. The other officer, Devin Brosnan, was charged with aggravated assault. Miller hasn't watched any of the body cam video from that night yet. She's still building up the courage. In the meantime, she doesn't want her husband's death to be in vain. It's why she took part in the March on Washington anniversary back in August, with many others who've experienced similar pain.
I want to see change. Change in policing. Change in our black men being scared of officers when they see them. Because most of them are scared. You hear sirens, I see them run. And they don't even know why they're running. They're just scared.
Atlanta pastor Jamal Bryant was there too.
The frustration of this generation is that we've not seen justice. The killer of Trayvon Martin is free. Freddie Gray, Sandra Bland, all the way down, nobody has gone to jail. We're not declaring war on the police. We want the police to be accountable. We want somebody to be held responsible.
Miller says God is even using her tragic circumstance for good.
He's using me as a testimony to help someone else and let them know if I got through it, you can do the same. So I want people to remember to keep having faith in God and stay focused. Don't let people change you and make you bitter because of a tragedy. Don't become cold because of the hate that's going on right now.
Tamika tells me if she has her way, this space will soon be used to benefit the community. Either way, she plans to follow God's leading and use her newfound voice for good. Eric Phillips, CBN News, Atlanta.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
And ministering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Countdown is on. We are now just days away from Super Bowl Sunday, which takes place February 7th. And of course, you know you're going to see quarterback Tom Brady there. Well, he was one of the many people who took the time to send some well wishes to a player who was walking away from the game. Philip Rivers recently announced he was retiring from the NFL after 17 seasons. The former Indianapolis Colts quarterback wears a phrase we can all learn to embrace in our lives right now.
early on, I had to learn with how to deal with the highs and the lows. You know, it's kind of that roller coaster of the season. You're going to throw an interception to lose one. You're going to throw a touchdown to win one, and not going for that roller coaster ride. My wife would tell you, my children would tell you, I've gotten better at handling that. And I still can't stand losing, but I'm able to just handle it all better with a little more even keel temperament. Mentally, physically, spiritually, I'm in a good place. Faith, family, and football is how I prioritize my life, and they all go together, but they go in that order. And the characteristics in our faith, in family, in quarterbacking, in football, they're all the same. The sacrifice, the commitment, the dedication, the toughness, the ability to handle adversity. With your faith, in my profession, it's understanding all the time I'm playing for an audience of one in Jesus. And having that stability in your faith and family allows you to come here, relax, be confident, and play. There's a phrase that's dear to me, and it's a Latin phrase, nunc cepi, N-U-N-C-C-O-E-P-I, and it means now I begin, or now we begin. And it's never ending, good or bad. You have a great day, you have a great play, well, nunc cepi. So when we fall, we begin again. This exact time is only happening now. Embrace each moment that you have. Be where you are. A priest friend of ours, Father Martin, introduced it to me. In the midst of our spiritual direction, we were talking about praying, and he said, nunc cepi. You know, he's like, begin again. So really what it ends up being about for me, from a faith standpoint, is God's mercy. His infinite mercy, right? I mean, he's there for us to call out on him to begin again. It's so encouraging because it's freeing. It's okay, we're starting right now then. We can't change what we didn't do the last 2 weeks, but we can today. As much as it's been impactful for me, I hope that others have been impacted as well. My question to Jesus, to God, is what do you want of me? You know, I believe to get to heaven and take as many people with us as we can. And you do that daily, you do that in your words, you do it in your actions. It is daily. It is daily, this path and this journey of our faith. He didn't leave us here empty-handed, and whatever state you're in your life or whatever's going on, it's never too late, and he is there for you and waiting on you. If you're going to do something, do it all the way. Let's not just put our toe in the water, you know, and just kind of dabble in it when it's convenient. Let's grow in your faith and in your relationship with Jesus.
Thanks to the grace of God, we can all begin again and again. And I'm sure wherever Rivers begins his life after football will be something to watch. For an hour of faith and football, be sure to catch a special Super Bowl breakfast on the CBN News Channel. You can watch it Saturday at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. plus Sunday before the big game at 2:30 p.m. See and hear from big names like Tony Dungy, James Brown, and Ben Watson. Be sure to stay with us. There is much more of CBN News Watch straight ahead.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Prophecy thousands of years old.
We were called to be a light to the world.
Being fulfilled today. Discover how. Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life. Just call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
See how the people of Israel are fulfilling prophecy.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
By sharing their knowledge.
In Africa, in Asia, in South America, in East Europe.
And their love.
This is how we work. This is us.
Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
And welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. CBN's Operation Blessing is helping to feed hungry people around the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit even the distant areas of Costa Rica. Life on the remote island of Chira and Caballo was already difficult before COVID dealt a devastating blow to the area's fishing industry. Two fathers, Isaac and Mario, both lost their jobs. Isaac wasn't able to give his hungry daughter anything to eat, and Mario watched in pain as his wife and children suffered. But thanks to the support from Operation Blessing's partners, staff in Costa Rica loaded up cars to the brim with critical food supplies for these remote communities. And hundreds of families got packages full of food to put on the table, including Isaac and Mario. Both of you can imagine are very thankful and said, "I know that you were sent by God. If we did not trust him, everything would be worse." Trust in God indeed. Time now for your Monday motivation. I'd like to leave you with this thought. You are more than what you see in the mirror. You are a reflection of God's love. See yourself as he sees you, even if it means closing your eyes to see it. With that word, I encourage you to make today a marvelous Monday and be sure to have yourself a wonderful week. And I want you to do that on purpose and in purpose. Well, that is a wrap for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to remind you, you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us at the address right there on your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And, of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Again, make it a marvelous Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.